is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, we are back for another PWCC Premier Auction. It is November the 16th, 2023. My name is Jeremy Lee. And as I just mentioned, it is that time of the month. It is mine, and here he comes, this guy's favorite night of the month. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm great, man. Always excited for this day. You're exactly right. But maybe this month more than usual. We have some really high-end, crazy stuff this month. And so we've talked about this in the past, a little bit fewer numbers now. The PWCC has increased, the minimum. But Jeremy, tonight there's some amazing stuff that's up for sale, and I'm excited to cover it with you.
There certainly is. Usually before we go live, we've had about 5-10 minutes to sit down, chat, talk about, it's a great auction. Here's some of the good items. This is the first time we've chatted in actually like a couple of weeks. I feel like I went live before you were even in the studio. You came in about 30 seconds ago, and here we are. And so, hi, how are you, man? It's good to see you. How have you been?
I've been really well. Still certainly recovering from a big purchase a couple months ago. Content stuff is going great.
I love your reels. Your reels are awesome. You are really telling stories, and I enjoy them. I enjoy every one of them. So keep up the great work, man. I'm proud of you.
Every time you leave a comment or a like, I'm always grateful for it. Trying to obviously grow it. But the story, I feel like an artist sometimes. I'm like, what is the story behind this thing that I think is the coolest part? The thing that's funny, Jeremy, is as I get into that, and as I think more about the cards, I'm like, man, I need to go out and I need to buy some of these. And so it's not good for me. It's probably not good for my pocketbook to be making all these things. But thank you for saying it. That's very kind of you.
Well, I think, you're sharing the information on so many cards with different people. And I think that a lot of people are, it's like, they're going to take the information, the stories, and they're going to decide, is that a card I already was potentially going to covet? And now Adam has provided some context around it. And now that might be the tipping point. Or maybe you're introducing cards to people that they've never thought about before, just like we do during this show. We're doing the same thing here. It's just packaged differently, telling stories, talking about the items. This is why you and I have been getting together and doing this. We're coming up on 2 years now of doing this once a month. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, even me and Adam, I say, we don't necessarily agree on everything, but we disagree respectfully, even though later on I might say, you jerk. Of course not. But, we can disagree, and it's not always disagreeing. It's just different preferences. And that's really what makes the hobby go around, never mind the whole world. So I'm excited for another night of talking about cards. There are 72 items on the Premier Auction this month. These are amounts that are digestible for us. We can handle it. And so we'll get into it, but let's say hello. Michael Hathaway from MC helps me host with me a Monday night show. Michael, great to see you. Michael Steinberg, welcome to the show, Mr. Michael Steinberg. We got Hobby Champs in the house. Make sure you're following Hobby Champs on Twitter, or X as it's now called. Vintage was just with me earlier for an REA episode. Vintage, good to have you back. Josh Morris, first time watching live. I talked to Jeremy on IG. How do I enter cards in the auction? Well, you got to go through PWCC, and you can submit cards to them, Josh, and you can do it at card shows. You can do it through their website, or if you DM me later, I can put you in touch with somebody over there as well. But Josh Morris, welcome to the live show for the first time. 90s hockey collector, good evening to you. So I'm coming off the expo this past weekend, Adam, which was, it was off the charts. If anyone that, listen, I don't want to make this big divide between Canada and the US in terms of card shows, because really we're very, very similar as far as the two countries go. But let me tell you, the hobby is thriving. The volume was like, it was busier than it had ever been. And I've been doing this show for 18 years, twice a year. And I'll tell you, Adam, I came out of that thing feeling like the hobby is the healthiest it's ever been. And maybe that's because what we saw happen over the past few years, we saw this big run up, and maybe some of the people who weren't really in it for longevity have left, and now we're starting to level out again. But at the end of the day, it was full of young people. It was filled with women. It was filled with positive energy, good vibes. And I mean, yeah, throw me in the positivity gang right now, because it's all I can see and think about. So I loved it. It was an awesome show. And well, let's see what happens here tonight. We got 72 premier items. What do you think about what my little soliloquy I just went through?
Well, part of me is a little worried about whether I'm connected well. You got a little bit off there, spotty there for a second, but I think it might be me. Do I sound okay to you right now?
We're getting a little bit of delay with you. Yeah, a little bit of delay. Right now you're good. So just talk content.
Okay. All right. No, whenever I see you go to a show, I check your social and just sort of get a sense of it. Cause I think if something's not perfect, or if it's not ultra positive, you won't say that it was ultra positive. And that's one thing I like about you, is you'll just kind of say how it is. And you were glowing after this show, and you're still glowing now, which I think is, I think it's awesome. I think what you said about, about what we've seen over the last couple of years is exactly right. And it makes sense. Frankly, I think we sort of knew we would probably end up at a place that's like where we are now, a couple of years ago, when we were in this major boom, everything was going well. The thing that's clear is that can't last forever. You're not gonna 5x every year. That's not how it works. And so when we saw these people coming in that were really just here to make money, I think a lot of us realized, hey, not all these people are going to stay. And the people who leave, it'll be great when they're gone, because then we can just sort of like look around and go, okay, now we've got these new people who are here because they love the hobby, not just the money-making aspects of it. And everybody likes making money, don't get me wrong, Jeremy, but I think we want to keep the people here who care about cards and who aren't just using it sort of as a front to just sort of get rich. At least that's how I feel. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who feels that way.
No, we want to keep the people here that want to be here. I see lots of people on social media. It doesn't seem like you want to be here. So why, like, if you really don't like it, why are you like, I don't know. I don't like fishing. Nothing against fishermen. If you love it, great, but I don't like fishing. Therefore I don't go fishing. I don't go to fishing shows. I don't go to tackle stores. I don't talk to my friends about fish. Why? Because I'm not a fisher. I don't enjoy it. If you don't like sports cards, no one's keeping you here. But people that don't like it oftentimes seem to like to be here anyway. Hobby Champs makes a really good point here, where he says that the top is heavy and teetering, but the low to mid hobby, the driving force is active and healthy. And what I think what I'm taking from that comment is that cards have come down in value pretty much across the board over the last couple of years. What that's done is it's made them more affordable for a lot of people. And so we're seeing more and more people buy up the cards that they wanted. And really what will happen is as that increase in demand starts to work its way through the system, that will start to drive prices up eventually again. I think, I can't say for sure, because it's cyclical. Supply, demand, it's a constant. These are two forces constantly working together to get to where they have to go, and to look to which is eventual equilibrium, but there's never equilibrium. It's always teetering with equilibrium. And but that's what I love about the hobby, is that you can have a great time at the $20 card price point. I got a card in the mail today that is in that price point. I gotta tell you, I was driving home from the post office happy as a you know what and you know what. I was like, this makes me happy. This little $20 card makes me happy. Doesn't have to be 20,000 or 2,000 or 200. A $20 card can make me happy. So that's I think that's great. I think that's why we saw such a busy expo up in Toronto, and hopefully hopefully that energy permeates throughout the U.S. and all the show. You know, the Chicago Spectacular coming up, the eventual Dallas show, the Burbank show in February, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm excited. I'm as bullish on the hobbies I've ever been. That doesn't mean I'm bullish on values going up or down or anything. It just means I'm bullish on the hobby and the excitement and the participation level. Robert, let me just do this quick. Robert Scott says, couldn't agree more about the expo. Hobby is alive and well. And Jeff Hart, good evening. Always good to see you, my friend, as well. Sorry, what were you going to say, Adam?
I was just going to say, I think that we worry a lot about things that we can't control. And a lot of people sort of try to get in or out based on those things that they can't control. When things were going crazy high and people were like, what are you buying? What are you doing? And they were like, you know, when should I get out and all that stuff? I don't know. It didn't really make sense to me. Like, because you get, that's kind of the opposite of what I would do. Where things have come down so much now, I kind of feel like it's more fun right now than it was. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Not necessarily that I'm out there buying everything, because I'm certainly not, but I like it more. I'm having fun with, like you just said, $20 cards, and some of the cheaper stuff's really fun. And some of that doesn't mean that the expensive stuff's not fun, right? What we're doing tonight is definitely fun. But back to the comment about the high end teetering, whenever there's a moment where it feels like people start to get scared, honestly, that's when I sort of put my feelers out. That's naturally, I'm like, okay, this might be a good moment for me. And I'm definitely doing a little bit of that right now. And so who knows? Maybe we'll win something tonight. We'll see what happens.
Ooh, that's a little teaser. Maybe we'll win something tonight. I'm excited to, not that you're going to share with us till the auction's over, but look forward to hearing about that. Vintage card wants to know, what was the biggest card I sold in Toronto? I sold my PSA 9 Larry Robinson rookie card. I sold my Frank Mahovlich rookie card. It was a PSA 6. I think those are the two biggest single cards that I sold vintage. I did decide to move on from some of my vintage for reasons that are, just lifestyle type reasons. But I also am planning to go on a major shopping spree in April. So once things work out in my world. Todd McDonald, good to see you, pal. Always good to see you. It was great seeing you at the expo. And LGC says, Gordie Howe liked fishing. Just saying. Great comment there, LGC. Welcome to the show. Adam, let's start looking at some cards, as Todd McDonald says. Here we go, guys. Here is the Premier Auction. 72 items on the ballot tonight. And we're going to start with this top row. 2 Jordans and a mantle. Goat. We've got, Adam, I'm just going to let you talk about the 98 Skybox Premium Star Rubies. It's out of 50. This is a huge card, very important to Jordan collectors. And then on the other bookend, we've got a PSA 10 86 Fleer Jordan rookie with the superior eye appeal rating, already at 150 pre-buyer's premium. That's 180 out the door. Adam, why don't you speak to the rubies, and let's take a look at a picture of this as you describe its significance to us.
Yeah, the rubies to me is definitely the card of the night. It's the card that I think a lot of people are sort of really interested to see how well it does. It's the second year where the Star Rubies were numbered. So 97 was also numbered and had the amoeba pattern. I have to say, there's several different variations of rubies. This one's really, really nice looking. And I speak from experience on this one because I had the Pippin. I used to own the Pippin. I sold it to an Australian friend at the National in 2018 or 19. But I was sad as soon as I let it go, because rubies really are some of like the nicest looking cards, and 98 is really a beautiful year. The image of Jordan on here is fantastic. And the 7 grade, I think sometimes people who are newer in the hobby will look at that and go, oh, that's not good. But go ahead and look around this card, the edges and corners and the whole thing. 7's actually a really nice grade on this in the PSA holder. It does look really nice in the PSA holder. And unlike the year before, the serial number on the back is not in hollow foil. So those are some different things. The only thing that I'll say about it right off that's kind of interesting, Jeremy, is if you look back at 98, it's a really interesting year in the history of the hobby. And it's interesting because Jordan had just retired, and so Fleer was basically getting Jordan stuff out there as fast as they could before he officially announced it. As soon as he officially announced it, they had to cut off all production and say, okay, we're not doing any more of this stuff. But this is really like one of the big parallels from 98. Other sets like, say, Fleer Brilliance with their 24 karat gold that were made in 98, no Jordan. But you get this one, no EX credential Jordan from 98, right? So huge card. And if there's one card in the whole auction that I could have personally in my collection, it's this one.
It is a beauty. It is a beauty. I've seen one of these in person before, and the image here, I don't want to say it doesn't do it justice because it does look pretty cool, but you move this thing around in your hand under the light and it's just beautiful. What do you think about the Jordan 86 Fleer? I mean, this is a PSA 10 gem mint, superior eye appeal as per PWCC's eye appeal team. Let's take a look at this one, but where is this card at lately? I feel like even though we see them, I feel like we're not talking about this card lately, at least you and I. I feel like I've taken a vacation from talking for no other reason than it just hasn't come up. But where do you feel this card is at right now, hobby-wise?
That's a good question. I feel like people are still talking about it and people still love it. It's still the basketball card. When I look at this card, Jeremy, I see that. Did you say, is it superior? Is it top 5%?
Correct.
Because the top 5% is the one that once upon a time sold for really crazy money. Because really that's like 40. That's like the best Jordan out there. So we know it's not going to get back to that. That would be shocking. But where it's sitting right now, really low. Really surprising how low it's sitting from my perspective, because we've seen them get over 200 or in the 200 range, but you just don't see the top. I mean, when was the last time we saw top 5%? Was it the 840 sale?
It might be. And I mean, that was a couple years ago now, I feel like. So yeah, I just curious on your thoughts. It'll be interesting to see where this one goes tonight. There was a third star, 84 star 101 graded a PSA 9 at the Expo in Toronto. So that population goes from 2 to 3. I saw the card, actually, the submitter, someone I know, he showed it to me on site. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, let's talk about this. The 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie card, SGC 7.5 with the PWCC above average eye appeal, putting in the top 30%. Let's take a quick look at this beauty. If you've seen any of my content, you know I love this card. The only thing that jumps out, okay, so centering isn't perfect, but it's well within 7.5. That is for sure. The only thing that I see about this card, I see two things, is just a little bit of right here in the crevice or the crease of the ball cap right here. A couple of print, like small fisheye there, whatever's going on over here. But in the name bar, this fisheye right here beside the E, that sticks out to me. But look at the card otherwise, edges, corners, beautiful. Centering is, I said something at the beginning, centering is amazing actually for this card. So that's a really, really nice copy. Adam, what do you think of this Mantle rookie card?
Well, as always, I'm kind of blown away by your detail. I didn't notice the fisheye on the hat. I did notice it in the name bar because that's something you've really pointed out in the past. But also your point about centering, I think, is really spot on. We've seen a ton of these. These are the sort of cards, Jeremy, there's some cards that you never see like 80-20 or 90-10. This isn't one of them. You see this one in 80-20, 90-10 all the time. Yeah. Both top and bottom and left and right. I wish the top and bottom was just a little bit nicer, but for me, it's really, really strong. What about that registration down bottom right? Does it look like
I was just going to talk about the way that these trees are coming down a little bit below the black border all across the bottom here. That's a registration issue. For me, that wouldn't stop me. If this was my target card, that wouldn't be the deal breaker for me. So it doesn't bother me that much. Listen, cards made in 1951, and I've said it before, I like my vintage cards. These corners are a little too sharp for me. I like my corners. I like my vintage to look a little bit more vintage, but that to me is a sign of the times right there. I'm okay with that. It doesn't, I'm not noticing any blur in his face. You know, you can see a little bit in this line here, but it's not, the face isn't way blurry or anything. It's still a very pretty image. So I don't really have any problems with this card, except maybe the corners are too nice. But I'm joking, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful copy of what I think most experts would agree is a top 10 to 12 most important or most iconic card in the history of the hobby. It's a huge, huge card. And I think I told you this before, Jeremy. It's the biggest baseball card I've ever owned. It was a 51 Bowman. I sold it like 14 years ago when we were buying right before we bought our house. And I've always sort of regretted it. It was a beautiful 4.5, had great centering. The great thing about a card like that, like the 52 Topps mantle, like you and I were talking about in our chat the other day, like each one of those really does like have like a whole story to it, and you can examine the whole thing. But that's about as good as it gets.
All right, let's keep on cruising here. Kobe, Steph, Kobe. We've got two of the most important Kobe cards on the bookends here. The PMG Red, 97 Metal Universe, PMG Red, numbered out of 90. And we've got the Essential Credentials Future on the far right here, numbered out of 73. This is a PSA 8. The PMG is a BGS 4.5. It looks really good to me for a 4.5 from here. That low grade is driven by the surface subgrade, which is a 3.5. So there must be something going on the surface. It's not jumping out at me right away, which is, I think, a good sign, at least not on the front of the card. You see some chipping around the borders. Looks no worse than a 79 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky, though, in many cases. I would say if this is going to sell at a discount because of that low grade, that looks like a good deal to me. And then the credentials, I love Essential Credentials from 97. You've got the die cut cardboard on top of like 2-color acetate with the purple cardboard, like shiny foil cardboard in the background. These are awesome cards. These are technology cards. Absolutely love both of those cards myself. And then a Steph RPA in the middle with a ridiculous patch, the true rookie at a 99 and a BGS 9 holder. I mean, Adam, we're looking at 3 basketball cards here. This is your wheelhouse, of course. Anything you'd like to point out on these 3 cards? We are 7 minutes away from extended bidding, everybody. All access extended bidding. And Adam, we're only 6 cards in, so I'm going to ask you to keep it short if you can on these 3.
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to just take 30 seconds on each if that's okay. So in general, I would say that the credentials is like my favorite set from this year, but I really love the Kobe PMG. And the reason I really love the Kobe PMG, I don't actually love the whole PMG red and green set. Like so many people love it. I love the Kobe, and I've always loved the Kobe because there's something about the yellow and the red. It just works together in this great image of Kobe. This sort of no look pass is. I think it's one of his best looking cards. I think the red looks better than the green. Obviously, I prefer green. But the thing that I don't like about this, Jeremy, is that that 4.5. Like, I wonder on a card like this if it would have been graded 10 years ago, if it would have been an 8. Like, I think both PSA and Beckett have really decided for whatever reason to change how they initially graded cards. And you can see from the cert number on this, Jeremy, and you could look it up if you wanted to, this was graded really recently. I would like to know why the Surface got a 3.5. Is it a real 3.5? Where I think there's something really it's real damage, or is it just sort of the sign of the times that both Beckett and PSA have decided to be really tough? Because we can zoom in. Maybe you can find something.
I just see, I've never noticed that before in his leg, but I'll just respond to that quickly and say, I'm not, this card to me, if it presents well, there's no big chunk out of the corner or anything. To me, I'm not going to care about the grade. I want to own the card. I don't care about the grade. It's too bad that we allow the grade on such a rare card to impact how much we love the card itself, especially if nothing sticks out to you.
Hey, real quick. Let me interrupt real quick, because when I said I don't like it, it's exactly what you're saying. I don't like that people are going to look at it and go, well, what's wrong with it?
Right.
From my perspective, where I'm sitting right now, I'm not looking at this thinking, oh, there's something wrong with it. Maybe there's something on the back that we're just missing, or maybe there's I don't know. Like I would say, look at the 360 view, look at everything about it. But to me, like if there was a 90s parallel Kobe that I wanted, and I mean this every part of me, like that's the one. That's the card right there. I love that card.
Yeah, I do too. I love it as well. And then of course, I mean, what can you say about the Steph Curry RPA? Let's just take a look at the auto, which is the auto is really perfect. I would say looks very bold, nice and bright blue. Good placement. Well, I say good placement, but the tail does come over the black border. But that's not something that bothers me. But that patch is absolutely filthy.
It's nice.
Lots of 3-color, tons of break, tons of stitching. Just, I mean, that's Steph's card right there. That's the Steph card right there. All right. We've got a Burt Ross 52 Willie Mays PSA 9. Looks really, really nice from here. We've got a Patrick Mahomes National Treasures NFL Rookie Shield. Now, I have to ask, is this the one that sold for like $4 million at the 2021 National? It is not, okay, because $4 million to 65 at this point is quite the drop, but looks like someone might get a really good deal on this card compared to that sale. Times are different. I recognize that. Now we have a Charizard first edition Shadowless Holo sitting at 38,000. This card was $250,000 for quite some time. I think it's come way down. I don't know exactly what this is expected to end at. Adam, anything to add on these three, please?
I like the comment on the Mahomes. I like that that you look at it and go, is this the one? Is this the one? And we know it's not. It's the Colossal. It's not the parallel from the base set. But what it is really like a good alternative to that. You'd rather not spend $4 million, and you probably, even if you wanted to right now, you probably couldn't get that card. This is a great option instead of that.
All right, cool stuff. Next up, a PSA 10 Joe Montana Topps rookie from 1981. These were doing like $60K for a while. We'll see what this one does tonight. It's got a pretty low pop. I don't remember exactly, like
111.
I was gonna say 110. Thank you. 111. Mr. Adam Gray knows his stuff. I got the best co-host in the business, I got to tell you. And then we got a PSA 8 O-Pee-Chee Wayne Gretzky. We'll take a close look at that right away. Finally, on the other end here, a 2020 Dynasty F1 Sebastian Vettel patch auto 101 with a really cool patch and 6,000 on this. Let's take a look at the Gretzky. You know I got to do it, everybody. I got to look at this Gretzky. So let's get into this. And first off, so the centering, it's off center to the left, but well within PSA standards for grading. For center, probably well within PSA 9 centering standards, which are 60-40. And I think, this might be 65-35. That's just with loose eyes here, though. Corners, edges, I really like this version of the rough cut. This is a rough cut that I like. It's not too rough and it's not too sharp. Corners are all looking pretty good. I'm not seeing a sharp 90 though on any. Well, maybe that one there, but it's tough to tell on this one just with the image. But I'm not seeing sharp 90s at the top. But that's okay. They're still, I think, within the 8 tolerance. Look at the plane. Edmonton and Oilers. Oilers is sitting lower on a lower plane than Edmonton. So that's a registration issue. And if you zoom in, you can see the yellow shadow coming off the orange Oilers word. But it's tough to see. You come down, and we're not really seeing just a sliver of white right here between the blue and the black, but pretty tight otherwise. The oil drop is actually looks to be sitting really nicely. It is a little bit low, and the yellow plate is definitely low and to the right, which is also, I believe, causing this fuzziness on the bottom edge of the legs, which is a great place to look for your registration on the Gretzky rookie. You can see the glow coming off the bottom edge of his leg here, right from the skate up to the hockey pants. Overall, listen, this is I'd call it an average 8. I don't think they gave it eye appeal. Did they? No, they didn't. So that's a good thing, because I wouldn't give an eye appeal designation here. But I'd call it an average to slightly below average 8, in my personal opinion, or maybe those are just my expectations. But that's what I think of that Gretzky there. And Montana looks great. I mean, I don't really, I can just tell that really what you're looking for on the Montana is centering. You know, corners and edges are tougher because they're white, but that's a nice looking card. Adam, your thoughts on these three?
Well, I would love to comment on the Vittel, but I do not know that world for sure. And you've done a great job on the Gretzky. The reason that I knew the Pop 111 on the Montana is it's one of those that I did the reel on, and I actually did it based on something that you and I talked about previously. There was a point where you looked at it and you said you said something about the Montana being unlicensed or something about it that was unlicensed. And I thought, how can that be? What's the story there? And so I went and I researched it. And what I found, you might already know this, what I found was that until 1981, the year of this card, the NFL Players Association and the NFL had these two different licenses that they had given to two different brands. So Topps had the Players Association license and Fleer had the NFL license. So there's no cards from this whole era that have NFL team like official logos or the NFL logo and a player represented. Fleer could do these like team cards where it's like, you know, the Vikings sack the Seahawks or whatever, but like they couldn't do like players. And so I thought that was so interesting. And I think it's crazy to think that Joe Montana's for real, I mean, it's the only card that anyone would ever consider his rookie card. This is the Montana. It's maybe a top, some people would say it's the most iconic football card in the world. That it's not licensed by the NFL, but is licensed by the Players Association.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yeah. And I don't think, like, if you don't know that, a lot of people don't know that. And it's weird. Like, this card almost gets a pass for that. No one really cares.
It does. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because it was the only football set of its time. It was the set. So it just doesn't matter. I am noticing some slight counterclockwise tilt on it now that I have it open. You can just see the border up here is a little bit wider than the border down there. But again, PSA's centering requirements are loose for the front of the card at 60/40 for a Gem Mint 10. So this would still fall well within. But with that said, you could probably find a straighter version centering wise in the PSA 10 population. But still, like, listen, I don't mean to be like knocking on this card. It is still beautiful, and that tilt is slight for sure. Another F1 card. This one pairs up Lewis Hamilton with Valtteri Bottas, and this is a nice looking card. Let's have a look at these autos, though. They look to be light to me from a distance. It looks like Hamilton didn't press down very hard up there, and Bottas is his autograph is V and B. I mean, we see worse in basketball, that's for sure. The patches are pretty cool. Certified authentic by Mike Baker Authentic, and it's a 1 of 1. So pretty cool card right there. Tiger Woods, SP Authentic, Future Watch, or Authentic Stars Auto. The hockey guys will laugh because I called it a Future Watch there. But out of 900, that autograph looks amazing. Let's have a zoom in on that. Oh, look at how blue that thing is. That is wonderful. Wonderful autograph. 136 of 100 on the card. PSA 10. This is such an important card from Tiger Woods. And then Adam, a Prism Gold Luka Doncic from 2019. BGS 10 pristine, numbered out of 10. So second year. This is second year. Prism Gold. This seems like why is this 3,500? What am I missing here? Is this not a monster of a card?
Well, I think one thing that we've seen is that a lot of the Prism Gold stuff has come down quite a bit, but especially from non-essential sort of years. When we're talking about Luka's Gold rookie, we never see that for sale anymore. We might be more likely to see a second year. But Jeremy, I'm with you. There's a point where like this card was 10, 15 times the value that it's at right here. I mean, it was absolutely a huge card. It's still a huge, huge card. Okay, it's Pop 1. Like you said, second year. But I'm with you. It's a little surprising it's low as it is, but a lot of that is that it's come down as much as it has.
Well, let's see what happens there. I mean, hopefully that thing will hit it's tough to say if it will or won't, but should this be a $15,000 card here in November 2023, worthy of the Premier Auction? I don't know, but this certainly is, and I don't know much about the F1 myself, but I guess we'll find out. But and you know, the BGS 10 aspect of it will certainly drive more bids from people who like that pristine grade on the Beckett holder. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. Oh, wow. What a row. What a row. Look at this.
This is your row. This is the Jeremy Lee row.
I own one. I own each of these cards in my collection right now. I love these cards. 51 Bowman Mickey, another copy. So what was the last one? Didn't we just look at one up here, Adam? Yeah, we had the SGC 7.5 sitting at 65K. And now we have a PSA 4.5 right over here. We've got a Willie Mays PSA 5 and a Gordie Howe PSA 6 from 51 Parkhurst. So right away, you can see the Mantle 4.5. What's holding this card back are these vertical line, these print defects coming down right here. If you can see that, there's another one right here. There's some surface marks right over there. Notice, Adam, we're not seeing the green come under the black like we did in the last copy. So that's good. But we are seeing a different registration issue with this double line, this blue line border of his jersey coming off of the black plate. So something's there. The nameplate here is actually is wonderful. Like that's a beautiful Mickey Mantle nameplate. His face looks good to me despite this registration issue. The surface, listen, the corners and edges are wonderful. Centering, it's obviously to the left, but it's still really nice. I think it's appropriately graded. I don't mind the copy, but you have to be okay with these print defects, these print lines coming down twice here. And I think that's gonna put some people off. But people who are all about the grade, this might be a great entry point for people there. Let's go through and then I'll get your thoughts, Adam. Willie Mays, PSA 5 from the same set as the Mantle. First thing I notice about this card is that his lips are definitely something's going on there. I'm not sure what it is, if that's surface wear or print, but usually they look a little more defined than that. I also noticed the top, just the top corner there looks like it's got a bit of wear, and the bottom left corner as well has some wear. Bottom edge looks nice. Bottom right corner is wonderful. Right edge, wonderful. Top right corner, not perfect, but still very nice. And then the other thing I noticed, it might be related to the action on the lips here, is the fading of this black border right here. Or it's just maybe it's a series of fish eyes or something, but when you zoom out, it's a pretty nice looking copy, although the lips are getting me right now on this copy. Adam, hold those thoughts. I want to get your thoughts, but I'll run through them myself first. PSA 6, X-Mint, Gordie Howe, 51 Parkhurst. Very important card. Love this card. And the red is coming through very nicely. Centering looks to be like side to side, kind of perfect. The top border, there might be some diamond cut going on here. I'm noticing that the border gets wider as you go to the right. And I'm also noticing, just if you look, that the card is in here on a bit of a tilt as well. So, and I say that because I'm noticing a small gap right here, Adam, between the top border and the barrier in the slab itself, whereas right here it's meeting. And down here at the bottom, you're seeing it kind of get bigger as it goes that way as well. So if you were to move the card, shift the right side down a little bit, that might actually mean that it's not diamond cut. I'm not sure. I'd need to look at this thing in hand to be certain, but it's. Can
you remind us what diamond cut means?
Well, to me, listen, I think people often confuse diamond cut and what I refer to as tilt. Tilt is the centering issue where, centering, if you look at my hand, centering, the whole image can be this way, or it can be this way, or it can be up or down, right or left, or it can be tilted. But the card is still a perfect rectangle with 4 90-degree angles, unless they're rounded or whatever, but, 4 90-degree angles. Whereas to me, a diamond cut is a card that's more of a parallelogram. It does not contain 4 perfect 90-degree angles. And it is also not a perfect rectangle. So it was the cardboard itself was cut at imperfect angles.
When I worked at a card shop back in 2000 to 2009, with a couple years in the middle for a mission that I took off. And I had a guy who I worked with who introduced me to the idea of diamond cut. And what he described as diamond cut is what you describe as tilt. And so I've sort of adopted what you've said, how you talk about it, and because I know you know what you're talking about. But I do think there's at least some percentage of the hobby that doesn't really understand that. So I'm glad we took time to sort of like define it.
Yeah. And that's just how I look at it. I mean, I'm sure there's people that see it the opposite way that I do, and that's fine. I mean, but if I just want to make sure that as I'm communicating it, whether you agree with my terminology, at least you know what I'm talking about. That's really the most important thing there. So thank you for having me clarify. Adam, any comments on the mantle or the maze?
You know, the thing that stands out to me actually is when you go back and forth between the mantle and the maze real quick, I really love the colors on both of them, but especially the maze.
Yeah.
Like there's something about the color on that card that's really pretty.
Yeah, they're just I listen, I have both of these cards. They are cherished, and I just love them. So okay, let's see if we can get through this first page here and go through. Oh, we have a finest refractor with coating, Kobe Bryant from '96, the rookie card, 17,000 right now. Amazing card, Adam. I know this is such a beautiful card in hand. This thing is like, it looks like it's valuable. You know, it's not, it looks like it's special. It's an amazing card. Contenders, Optic, Cracked Ice, Justin Herbert, rookie ticket auto out of 22, PSA 10 Gem Mint, Pop 4, and another Prism Gold from 2019. This one of LeBron James. Imagine pairing this card and this card. What a nice pairing that would be, of, you know, one kind of face of the league to the next sort of thing. The transition there. This is at 9,500. Luka's at 44. This is a Pop 3. It's a PSA 10. The Luka is a BGS 10. To me, I mean, the grade doesn't matter at that point. They're all really nice cards. I'm going to turn these ones over to you, Adam, because this is more your wheelhouse.
So I've seen the Cracked Ice in hand. It's amazing, Jeremy. That Justin Herbert's literally one of the nicest looking cards out there. The LeBron's awesome because he only has so many Prism Golds, and it's the real true gold Prism Gold card. He's got one from every year from 2012 to the present. And when you look at LeBron's canon of important cards, I think that in the long term, those cards will really matter. And I know a lot of other people who feel that way, but time will tell. The one that I want to really focus on, though, is the Kobe. You and I, one of the things that we maybe disagree on a little bit is the importance of having the peel. And people, this is like one of the most sort of discussed like variables in all of the hobby. But there's something here that I think we can definitely agree on. And that is that if the peel is present, this is what you want the peel to look like. It's not obstructing any of the best parts of Kobe. And so when I think about it, like I think there's like 3 or 4 different sort of elements to what matters. If you just care about aesthetics, excuse me, you're probably going to take that peel off. But if you care about the card being in its original form, which I really do, it's really important to me personally, then what I want is for that coating to be in exactly the right place. And Jeremy, it's a little bit like centering. Like it's something about how the card was produced, and it sort of gives you something else that you can look at and say, does this fit the right way? Does this look the way that I want it to? And honestly, Jeremy, that peel, it's perfect. It's exactly where I want it to be.
Exactly. It's not obstructing him at all, really. And it's not obstructing his nameplate either. And I kind of like the way there's a bit up in the corner. It kind of makes you look up in the corner and you realize, no, that's okay. That just says peel. I think the card presents nicer without it, but I understand your point. Like I can understand your point. Don't have to. That's not what I would prefer, but I get it, and I respect it. So good. Okay, let's have a look at the last row of page 1 here. Another Prism Gold 2016 LeBron James, a BGS 10. Wow, someone can pick up some nice Prism Golds tonight if that is your thing. Sitting at 13K right now. An SGC 8.5 with exceptional eye appeal on a Sandy Koufax rookie. This thing looks like a blazer from Chris Sewell's Blazer division, I would say. And I say that because look at those white borders. Look at those sharp edges and corners. This thing is gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. I love this card. And then finally, the card that's probably number 1 on my want list right now is a 33 Gaudi Lou Gehrig. And Adam, I have an idea for you for a future PWCC reel. There's 2 Lou Gehrig cards in this set in the 30, and they look the exact same, number 92 and number 1 something. I don't know the number, 56 or something like that. Why are there 2 of those cards? Like I'm it's not my role to task you, but I'm going to pretend it is. Adam, why are there 2 cards in the set? Why do they look the exact same? Which one is preferred by the experts in the set? Because I don't know. I would think the lower numbered one is more important, which is this one here. But I realize that the later numbered one is tougher to find, or it has lower overall pops. Does that make it more desirable, or does the lower number become more important? In any event, this is a beautiful card. I love this card, and I will own one of these. Maybe that'll be my 2024 goal, everybody, to pick up a nice Lou Gehrig 33 Gaudy, pair it with my Babe Ruth number 53, and I'm off to the races. I love it. And look at how sharp this image is. Like, just in focus, no registration issues at all. Good color. Love it. Adam, over to you, buddy.
Well, the Gehrig is the one that stands out to me because it's one that I actually have looked at recently, but I was looking at it for the worldwide gum version.
I remember, yeah.
The Canadian one. And so I wondered if you have any thoughts on that. Which of the 3 would you want? The worldwide gum that's from Canada. You're from Canada. I think most people know that. And then you've got the rarer second version from the Gaudy set, or the more common first Gaudy card. Which one of the 3 would you want in your collection?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards number 92 Gaudy. The reason why I don't lean towards worldwide gum is simply it's from a year later. These are dated 1933. The worldwide gums are 1934. Listen, everything else being equal, I want the earlier card with the same image, right? Even though the worldwide gum might be rarer and I'm Canadian, I have the Gaudy name is kind of where I'm at when it comes to the 33, to these cards in the 33 or 34. So I would go. And also, if I could save money buying the number 92 versus the higher numbered 33 Gaudy, same card otherwise, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to save my money.
So between the 2 that are both in the Gaudy set, you would go with the one that's cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they look the exact same. As far as I know, they look the exact same. So, all right. Fun conversation. Let's go to some comments here. We've been neglecting them for half an hour. Michael Hathaway said a while ago, I have a feeling I know what card Adam is going for. Jeff Hart, the 69 Lou Alcindor SGC9 is a stunner and cheap in comparison to its PSA cousin, to which Hathaway says a PSA 10 with Superior sold for $222K in July, this exact copy, actually. So that's an interesting tidbit right there. Hobby Champs is bidding on everything tonight, opening bid only, but he is in. Jake Dahl in the house. What's going on, Jake? Mike in the house. Got to meet Mike in person at the expo. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming to my Thursday night networking event, and it was great seeing you throughout the show. Rome Rant, if that's his real name, is in the house. Rome, good to see you, buddy. It was good hanging out with you at the show as well. He's trying to track down a nice 9 Gretzky. So tough. I've seen some 8s nicer than 9s. Well, then I would say, Rome, go for a nice 8. And I can tell you there will be a beautiful 8 in the next Premier Auction. The nicest 8 I've ever seen. My old 8 will be in the next auction. I'll tell you, it's nicer than most 9s. So I'll just put that out there for you, Rome. You probably saw it in person. Vintage says the Montana in 9 and 10 worries me. A lot of unopened wax. Yeah, one thing about vintage, 80s vintage, there is still unopened wax out there. But how much of it is actually getting opened? Like people, it's very slow. It's a trickle, if I would say overall. Hobby Champs, if Doncic ever reaches Kobe levels, that gold will be a steal at under $5,000. He says, beautiful mantle rookie. Centering is key in those. It is, but centering can be hard to afford sometimes. Says centered 51 Bowman, most important due to the thin borders. Professor in the house, nice example, flipping between mantle and maize on the crisp color of the maize. I mean, the maize just has bold, like more bold colors, but that mantle is a beautiful card as well. Hobby Champ says peel and remove coating as God intended. No peel for me, says Orlando. No peel for vintage. Tops is telling you, says no peel. Tops is telling you to remove it. Joe Pro knows all about the Blazer division. Orlando, beautiful Gehrig card. My favorite is his 34 Gaudy. Yeah, the nice big picture of his face, the Lou Gehrig card. I love that card too, but I'm still I'm gonna go with a 33 for my Gehrig eventually. Hobby Champs, God intended O-Peachy rough cut and peeled chromium cards. Who are we to question God? Or a lot of God talk. Believe in God. All right, guys. Thank you for the comments. All right, Adam. Let's move on to page 2.
Jeremy, you know me well enough to know when people say they intended you to peel it, what is my immediate comeback? Do you remember?
Well, that's not how it came out of the pack.
No, my immediate response is they also told us to rip 1980 Topps cards into 3. And
well, who says we weren't? Who says we're not supposed to?
The
Maybe
market.
We should be. Maybe we should be. I mean,
yeah, maybe.
I'm sure not gonna, because anyway. Okay, that's all. I hear you, Adam. I do know you that well. Okay. 1972 Topps, Dr. J, Julius Erving rookie card in an SGC 9 with exceptional eye appeal. So let's look for fish eyes, because that's a common issue on this card, especially in this area right here. And look at that void of fish eyes. And I'm going to give this the thumbs up on the eye appeal designation here. I'm not noticing any tilt. I'm noticing beautiful corners and edges and perfect centering. I can't see.
I mean, it's nice.
I mean, maybe not perfect, but maybe it's like, 48-52. Beautiful.
Maybe just at the bottom part of the second S, there's a little tiny guy there.
Oh, right there. Yeah, that's camouflage. Usually the fisheye is in this area here, and you know what I mean. It's like you can just see that ring of white there. Yeah. All right, next up, a beautiful Joe Namath 65 Topps SGC 7.5 with superior eye appeal. And I mean, this thing is gorgeous. Centering is amazing. Now it's a little bit to the left, I think. It's so much easier to notice off-centeredness on tall boys than any standard size card, which maybe works against them. So when you see PWCC giving it the superior or any eye appeal designation, you've got a nice copy. The color is popping on this. The registration is bang on. Just look at how sharp the break is from the yellow background to his hair. Handsome fellow, that Joe Namath. No butterfly mark on the hand. That's a variant. Some people call it. I think it's an ink stain. I always want my Joe Namath without the butterfly mark on the top of his hand there. Really nice copy. I'm all for that copy. And here's the Lou that we were talking about earlier in the chat, guys. Let's have a look at this piece. SGC 9, exceptional eye appeal. Yeah, I mean, the centering top to bottom, often these are sitting low. This is perfect top to bottom, I think. Left to right, it's a hair to the right, but well within sorry for saying that. Well within PSA centering standards. I'm not as sure about SGCs, but still a gorgeous copy overall in the SGC 9 mint holder. You can't say this is not a mint condition card from what we can see here two-dimensionally. Looks beautiful. Adam, these are 3 iconic cards here, all in the top 100. Your thoughts?
Yeah, all in the top 100, and in the case of the 2 on the right, both very, very high. I think even the Erving came in higher than I thought. It was in the 30s, which to me spoke to how much people outside of the world of basketball value it, because when we've done the iconic list just for basketball, the Erving didn't show up as well. But like everybody knows the Erving, right? And you're so smart to mention all of the normal issues that we see around print issues with that card. That one's largely free of. That's one of the nicer examples that you'll ever see. The Namath is the one that really stands out to me, though, and that's because when you look at the population reports on the Namath, what you're going to see is there are not very many 7.5s out there. There really aren't. There's a lot of 4s and there's a lot of 3s. But even to get into the world of like 6s and then 7s is pretty rare. A 7.5 on this card is really an amazingly high grade, and when you look at it, you can see why. Your point about how tall boys are often, that the centering really stands out on them, that speaks to me, Jeremy. I feel the same way about the Alcindor. But that is just a glorious card. That's a beautiful card.
It really is. Agree. All right, next row, we've got the Bobby Jones 33 Gaudi Sport Kings SGC 8.5, an extremely high grade for a night card from 1933.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we got to look at this. We got to look at this guy right now. Just take a quick peek at this, and I mean, look at it. It's stunning. This thing is stunning. Yeah, no more to say. Registration, bang on. Except maybe what's going on right here along his face. I'm not sure if that's natural, if that's the way they all are, or if that's a registration issue, but I just noticed that as I was saying it. But everything else looks good. Corners, edges, centering, wonderful. Bobby Jones, everybody. Tiger Woods, SI for kids. To me, his true rookie card. And I know a lot of people wonder, how could it grade so high with those perforations? Well, that's the natural state of the card. Well, let me rephrase. The intended state of the card, which is funny when we were talking about the 80 tops. But in any event, yeah, this is a beautiful copy. I love this card. I own a copy myself. Look how young he looks there. Great looking 10. And then we've got Pokemon Japanese Champions League promo at 13.5. Adam, anything on these golf cards?
Well, you're right. The fact that they're both together there is really interesting. I think if you were to like ask the question, which are the most important golf cards ever, the Tiger Woods SI for kids comes up really high on the list. And then the question is, around vintage golf, there's not too many that are in the sort of world as the 33 Sport Kings Bobby Jones. And to see that in an 8.5 is pretty rare. I'd love to see all the populations of that card and know how it lines up with the other ones. You're right. It's a beautiful one. And then I don't have anything to say about the Pokemon card because obviously I don't know that world as well.
We got a 96 Topps Chrome Kobe Bryant autograph card, Beckett Authentication autograph. The card is an 8.5. The autograph grades out a 10 with a Panini COA as well, sitting at 82.50. Interesting. These Chrome cards aren't the best mediums to display an autograph nicely. But it actually looked like, from what you can see, it looks good on there still. This is excuse me. Excuse me again. A bid just comes in on it. We got a 52 Mantle. Now this is a poor, and it's a miscut. And Adam and I have talked about this card extensively already. But the problems with this card, number one, the miscut is on the back, and it's minor, and it doesn't even bother you. You might not even know it's miscut if you don't know what the back of this card is supposed to look like, but there's a little bit of the next card showing on the bottom. It's minor, but the one is because some kid was thinking about everyone in the future and thought, you know what, this is a great card. We don't want it to be a PSA 6 or 7 costing anyone 6 figures. Let's put a staple right in the top of the card, right there, or maybe 2 thumbtacks, who knows, and let's devalue this thing so somebody can actually afford a beautiful copy of this. So this card, it gets hit twice. The miscut on the back, which you can't see on the front, and the staple and the pour, which is automatic because there's 2 holes in this thing, which seem to have filled in the way like your earring hole would if you don't wear earrings type of thing. They seem to have filled in, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe those are all the way through. It kind of looks like there's some of the card has filled it in, but I can't speak to for sure. I have to put it up against light and see if there's light shining through. In any event, it's right on the black, which is the perfect place for it. This is the perfect card for someone who wants a mantle but doesn't have 6 figures. It's sitting right now at 24,000. It's like this thing is, for all intents and purposes, this thing presents like a 6.5, I would say. Adam, and then finally, I'm gonna open up the maze as well. The last maze we saw was a 5. This is a 7, and yeah, I mean, look at this thing. It's centered better. The top left corner has a bit of an issue right there, but still not to be taken out of a 7 position. The lips are better here. If you compare his lips on this card to the other one, you'll see what I meant about when I was making those comments. The name bar is very nice, not completely solid black, but still very nice. And but it looks like the slab itself has a bit of a crack right over there. If that's going to bother somebody, make sure you're aware of that. But that's a beautiful copy. Adam, please, I know you got a lot to say about this row.
Yeah, you're right. These are the 2 cards on the left are 2 of my favorite cards in the auction. Jeremy, the reason that I like the Kobe autograph so much is because Kobe doesn't have NBA licensed autos from his rookie year, which is ironic because the greatest autograph basketball set of all time, in my opinion, came out in '96 with Skybox Autographics. For whatever reason, Mike Phillips and the team, I talked to Mike about this, they weren't able to get Kobe into Autographics. It would have been one of the greatest cards of all time, but I digress. This is the Kobe rookie. You know, whatever you think about the greening, the Topps Chrome is the Kobe rookie. And, you know, he signed this perfectly. And you look at that autograph, Jeremy, it is just beautiful. Well, I think that this card lacks, and so I'm going to get a little deep here for a second, so forgive me. I'll try to not take too long like I sometimes do. What this card lacks is that BGS has done a very poor job of segregating the autographed versions of a card, their in-person autographs, on their population report. So with PSA, you can go like click on the set, and then just to the right, there's the autograph section, right? And there's not very many. If somebody's in the chat, they can check. There's not very many Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome autographs in a PSA holder, and that's what's great about their population report is you can see how many autographed rookie Kobe's there are. When I looked at this, I thought this is the perfect card to do a story on or to do a reel on. But when I looked up when I looked up the serial number, it's just lumped in, Jeremy, with all of the other Chrome 8.5s. It's not segregated by the autograph. And that's a mistake because I think if people realized how rare that card is right there in front of you, and then combine that with the fact that he doesn't have autographed rookies, he doesn't have NBA licensed autographed rookies, like I think that's a huge card. I think it's an absolutely huge card.
So my only comment about that whole thing is that everything you said has nothing to do with the card itself. It has to do with the Beckett population report. And if you take that away and just the card, like you started off by saying this is an amazing card, but you were thrown off by the way Beckett documented its existence. And I get that, and that's going to impact because pop reports are very impactful on the hobby. But take that away, Adam. Is it still not one of the best cards, best Kobe cards? Like who? If you were to just say to yourself, who cares what the Beckett pop report says? Is this card not very special?
Yeah, like the card that we talked about earlier, like that to me is why I'm interested. That to me is why I would be interested in purchasing the card, because I think that the market doesn't understand how cool it is because the grading company, I think, has a deep responsibility to help us understand how cool it is. And I think Beckett's fallen flat in this case. And that's a great thing for me as a buyer, because I want to find stuff that people don't realize how cool it is. This is a great
based on everything Adam just said. This to me is a great opportunity to pick up a very special, rare autographed Kobe rookie. If you can get past the fact that that Beckett doesn't have it documented in an optimal fashion. As Vintage Card Collector says right here, I just crossed it over to PSA, and then maybe your issues are solved that way.
The only hesitancy, okay, let me just go a little bit deeper for a second. The only hesitancy, Jeremy, is that you look at that number on there, when it was graded. This card was graded before Kobe passed, and that is important because since Kobe passed, there's been like a higher proliferation of like people trying to fake his autographs. And so if you can find something that's slabbed that was in person from before he passed away, it does have a premium. So it's a little bit awkward for me. What I would do is probably what Vintage Card Collector is talking about. I probably, if for value purposes, for me, I would just buy the card and I would love to own it. I wouldn't think about it ever again. But for value purposes, I'd probably cross it to PSA and then keep that slab number, the BGS slab number, and just keep that with the card.
I'd ask PSA to put the Beckett label with the serial number in the back so that people could see both of them. I mean, that's important for the provenance. That last point you just made, I don't think we can't stress the importance of that enough, what you just said. Like that is a huge detail, and it takes an Adam Gray to throw out a piece of information like that. So yeah, very important. Well said. Anything on the mantle here? I know you had thoughts on this card too, but
I think you highlighted it perfectly. The fact that the two biggest issues are two things that your eye doesn't see unless you really look for. I made the reel on this card. What I wanted to do, Jeremy, was point out like the last time that a 5MC or a 6MC sold and how it would compare. The reality is I couldn't find a 5MC or a 6MC that looks anywhere near as nice as this one does, and this one's graded a 1. So the only thing that I would say is the fact that it's a 30%, top 30%. Like, from my naked eye, I look at that and go, man, like, what do you want out of a 1? This is the nicest qualified 1 I've ever seen.
Yeah, that could be an E or an S even for a 1, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Maybe they're taking into account the miscut on the back, and that's what, because I'm with you. This could be like a 4 with an eye appeal designation on it. Like, it's just an amazing copy. Okay. We have a case of Topps Chrome Baseball from 2018. If you know what that is, I just mean, if that's something you're interested in, go for it. We're not going to spend any time on that. But we got a 2003 Topps Chrome Refractor LeBron James rookie in a BGS 10 pristine holder. This thing was well over 6 figures at one point in time, I believe, in that type of slab. And the Nike Promo 1985 Michael Jordan PSA 10 superior eye appeal. This might be the finest copy of this card on the planet based on the grade and PWCC's eye appeal opinion. Adam, what would you like to say about these two cards?
Well, they're two interesting cards because we see them fairly often, right? But they're in the highest grades possible. And so these are the sort of cards that during the pandemic really exploded because people who came into the hobby wanted something that other people recognized. And I mean, you might not call the Nike card the most iconic card, but Jeremy, it's certainly one of the most iconic images. I mean, it's the definition of iconic.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that card. I've said it before. To me, I'm not a fan of oversized cards. It doesn't have any.
Nor am I. Yeah. But I get why people like it. Is what I'm getting at. Like, I get why people like it.
Yeah, and I respect that people like it. Yeah,
I do too. So my sell on these cards would be to say these cards were so high, and if we ever get to a point where masses of people start coming in again, I think they're going to want something that people recognize, and these are two cards that people are always going to recognize.
All right, let's keep on rolling here. Star 101, 84, Michael Jordan. This is autographed. Beckett Authentication Services has authenticated the autograph. Beckett Grading Services has graded the card a 7.5 and graded the autograph an 8. Let's take a look at this. I know this is a very important, hotly pursued card. It's a 7.5, which is strong for these cards. The centering is what it is, or it's almost always like that. Maybe sometimes it's a little bit more to the right, so there are better centered copies of this. The only real I noticed touches of white. I see one right there on the top right corner, very minor on the top left corner. You got a little nibble out of the surface right over there. And then you got the bottom left corner with some fray, but the corner is actually pretty nice. Bottom right corner has a bit of white showing there as well. Centering is what it is. Can't really tell the surface from here. Let's look at that auto coming in at an 8. Again, to me, Michael Jordan held this card. He put ink to it. The autograph looks great to me. Maybe a little streak right there, but like, why is that not a 9? Why does this have to be dinged down from a 10 to an 8? To me, it's a 10. Like, I don't care about that. I am so anti-autograph grading, but I get why people do it because people will pay for it. In any event, it doesn't even matter on this card. Honestly, the autograph grade matters, but not as much on modern pack pulled cards. And even the condition of this card is very good at 7.5. This is a great card, Adam. How much do you love this card?
I love this card because of that autograph. The autograph to me, and there's some smart autograph guys in the chat right now. The autograph to me on this card looks like an older Jordan autograph. I also like that it's not blue. Something we've talked about before. The blue on this card, to my eye, gets a little lost. This autograph will never get lost. You will see it in a heartbeat as long as you see the card full size. The only negative, and it's me just nitpicking, is that end of the autograph, the end of the Michael, swings back over his face. I wish it didn't hit his face, but like Jeremy, this is for me. This is a top 5 card in the auction. I love this card, and what I would want on this card, because I want an autographed Jordan rookie, I would want one that wasn't like an 8.5 or an 8. So the 7.5 grade to me. It's off-centered, which I love, like you do on the Star. I love that it's off-centered. Don't mind a little bit of corner wear, but the old autograph to me is the seller. That's why I love this card.
Yeah, no, you nailed it, everything right there. I agree with you that it comes over his head here. It does come over his head, but it's not really impacting his eyes, nose, or
Yes.
mouth. It's
Yes.
more, it is coming, I guess it is actually coming across his right eye.
But
So I think,
but you can hardly see that anyways.
yeah,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying,
yeah.
because you can hardly see that part of his eye in the normal picture, anyways. But it's not perfect in that way. But now we're nitpicking for sure.
I've never told you this before, but this gentleman right here was my economics professor in university.
No way.
No, I'm totally full of it. I'm just kidding. All right. All right. We got a couple Kobe's here again. We got the 97 Ultra Stars Gold. These cards are so nice in person. I'm looking at my shack right there. It's up on my wall. Oh my God. They look like they are 5 levels deep. These are probably these might be, with the credentials, my favorite inserts of the 90s, or insert parallel, whatever you want to call it, parallel insert. And then you got the Jambalaya 97 Kobe Jambalaya in a PSA 10, an amazing card. Love both of these. Pop 6 on the Ultra Stars Gold. The Kobe must be a higher pop, but look at these.
It's just a 15. It's just a pop 15.
A 15. It's higher than 6, but it's still just a 15. Like Adam's right, that is super low. Pick both of these up right now for about $70,000. And I don't know if you can do wrong on those two cards, Adam. Like if I was in shopping mode right now, man, would I, I'd love these. I'd love these. Oh, and the Jordan Star Auto just got another bid. Anything you want to say on these before we try and get through this page?
Well, so real quick on the Star Auto, we've seen those other 86 autos recently just go bananas, Jeremy. I like this. Other than the gold one that we saw, I think I like this one just as much as any of the Jordan autograph rookies that we've seen. But on these two, those are the two nicest non-serial numbered Kobe Bryant insert cards in the world. In the world, those are the two. 97 has I always say the Jambalaya and the Gold Ultra Stars. Those are the two nicest. They're super rare. They're the highest grade, and that's why they're pop 15 and 6. And that's what's so great about the Premier Auction is sometimes you look at it and you go, oh, two cool Kobe's. It's like, they're not just two cool Kobe's. They're two cool cards that you might not see for years.
Yeah, they're two amazingly cool cards. All right, another Jordan 86 Fleer rookie. This one is a BGS 9.5. It's a True Gem Plus. Surface coming through with a 10. The other three subgrades with 9.5s. And that, I mean, this thing does look super clean to me. Centering a little bit high on the card from what I can see. And that might be the only thing holding it back. Well, there's edges as well, I suppose. And corners, if it was centered a little bit, just a hair lower. And, an opinion on another day, this could easily be a pristine card. I'm saying that from a distance, though, so please take that with a grain of salt. We got a 99 game jersey Kobe Auto, numbered out of 8, Adam. Is this a buyback?
It's not.
This is pack pulled.
That's right.
Pack pulled. Now, no, I do believe that the autograph is fading a little bit right there, as is the serial number over there. You got nice blue jersey piece with mesh. The card is grading out a 9, and the autograph is authentic. We'll get your thoughts on the importance of this card. I know you'll have something to say about that. And a gorgeous 06 exquisite LeBron auto patch out of 100. The patch is absolutely beautiful. Like, I don't know if you can get a better patch in that small, in that size of a patch window. And the autograph looks almost great. I'm noticing a little bit of fading in this whole area here, but still a great looking card. Full body shot, action shot. This is a beautiful, beautiful card, Adam. I'd like you to speak to these, if you don't mind.
So if there are two cards in this auction that I was going to bid on, one would be the Kobe Chrome autograph, and the other one would be this Kobe jersey autograph. I live for these sort of cards. That overstates it, obviously, but I love this card, and it's because of the significance behind it. So let's talk about it. Kobe Bryant has autographs from Upper Deck starting in 98, and then he has jerseys in 98. The first time he has a jersey autograph is in 99. Patch autographs, because remember, Upper Deck delineated between patches and jerseys. Patch autographs for Kobe didn't start until 2000, the same year that they started for Jordan and Garnett. That was the first year that they ever did patch autos, but they did jersey autos in 99, and Kobe has 2 of them. He has the Upper Deck Encore and then the Upper Deck Series 2. and that's what this is. Both of them are serial numbered to 8. The thing that I think people will, the reason that this card is only sitting at what it's sitting at, it's a huge number, right? But the reason that it's only sitting at what it's sitting at is that autograph's it feels small, and the handwritten number doesn't really stand out. But Jeremy, this is not a card we ever see. I don't think I've ever seen this card auctioned before. It's right up my alley. It's one that I want, man. I love this card so much.
I'm sure you do. I know you do. I know you do. We have a Giannis 2013 Immaculate Collection Gold Rookie Patch Auto BGS 9. That's a nice looking card. We've got a Johnny Moore 86 Fleer PSA 10, one of the most expensive base cards for, outside of, real vintage stuff. And then we've got a 2020 Prism Black Gold Ant-Man Anthony Edwards rookie out of 5, sitting at $17,500. It's a pop 3, one graded higher. So 4 of these copies, unless there's been any submitted twice, are in BGS holders as we speak. Adam, 3 basketball cards. You are the basketball card fanatic. You are editor-in-chief of the Basketball Card Fanatic magazine. Our monthly reminder to subscribe to that magazine if you are interested in basketball cards. It's a wonderful magazine, easily the prettiest magazine in the hobby, and that's nice. We like pretty cards. Why not like pretty magazines? Adam, these 3 cards, anything you'd like to say about them?
Giannis is aesthetically really impressive in person. It's because of that holofoil. This is one that you want to get on the 360, turn it side to side. It's a gorgeous card, and although it's not as known as like a card like his NT, Jeremy, I'm just gonna tell you, this card is 1,000 times better looking than an NT Giannis rookie is.
Easily.
It's so much better. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even the same galaxy.
It's out of 10.
So I've got to say that. And then, but to me, like, the Edwards is really interesting because there's a lot of Edwards buzz right now. I mean, I watch a lot of basketball. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Like, there's a lot of Anthony Edwards' next stuff going on right now. And with the market having come down so much, I think so many people are like, what am I doing? Where should I put my money or whatever? At some point, people are going to look around and they're going to go, who's the player that I want to own? And I'm not going to be shocked if it's that guy. Yeah. So, it's not the gold. It's not the gold out of 10. But the black gold out of 5, man, like, that's a big card, Jeremy.
Yeah. 17,500 big as we sit right now. And the last 3 cards on the page, we've got a Zion Optic Gold Vinyl Rookie Auto 1 of 1 at a measly 10. I say measly, just thinking back to Zion Mania back in the day. This would have easily been $250,000. I have to think of it back then, right? When he was all the hype. We have a Fleer Brilliance 24 karat gold and Fernie Hardaway PSA 9. These cards are getting a lot of love on the gram lately on Instagram. And a Justin Herbert NT RPA numbered 99 and 99 with a nice 4-color swatch, nice autograph. But Adam, 24 karat gold Brilliance. Now there is a non 24 karat gold parallel this just called Brilliance that are out of 100, I believe, that are also,
I think it's 99. It's either 99 or 100.
Very nice card as well. But I mean, first of all, can you speak to the importance or the fanaticism for the 24 karat gold Prism and how right now, like literally right now, we are seeing attention on these cards?
So to pay for my Kobe Logo Man auto, I sold my Dirk, sold for almost $30,000. So that gives you some sense. Anthony Hardaway is one of the most collected players of the era, and he's got the green out of 10, and then he's got the now essential credentials now that's out of 4 or 5, and then he's got like this, like those are like his rarest cards. You probably prefer. Is he in a Magic uniform? I think he is, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, he's in the right uniform. It's a beautiful card, really glows. I haven't really noticed the same thing, that it's like having a moment. You're probably right. I sometimes don't pay attention to some of those things. But for me, like, it's one of the parallels that in the past people have not paid as much attention to. And now you sort of look around and go, there's only 24 of these things. You can't find them. And the regular gold, I mean, you put them right next to each other. The regular gold's a great card, but like the 24 karat brilliance is really, really nice. Like it glows. It's a glowy sort of super nice card. The only thing that's wrong with that set is that there's no MJ. If there was, it would be a well into the six-figure card, and it would drive the other ones even higher. But I mean, anytime you see an Anthony Hardaway go to 5 figures, Jeremy, you know you're looking at a serious, serious card.
Yeah, it is a beauty for sure. For sure. All right. Well, that takes us to the end of page 2. Let's load up page 3 and go to some comments now. Jeff Hart, like the Dr. J rookie, thought that was going cheap at the time. Hobby Champ centering on that Namath is insane. Michael Hathaway says on the Namath, I find it's one of the cards where you can tape over the flip and truly see the difference in grade. Incredible copies, pop like nothing else. Vintage card collector Adam, do you prefer SI for kids cards not separated since that is how they came? Just kidding, of course. Yeah. Jake Dahl says any 52 mantle is great to own. Collector's World Fargo has a bit of an issue with the name. It doesn't deserve the S. Print marks, rough cut. Yes, centering is great, but corner wear keeps it from an 8, but better than a 7. I really like the looks of it, but maybe with this information, I would take a look at it closer. Hobby Champ says these Beckett Authentication Services slabs are great for crack and resubs to PSA. Nick Leach tried to research the Kobe last night, and it's extremely difficult, talking about the autographed 96 Chrome. Vintage says, don't crack it, cross it. I think that makes sense. But yeah, again, you want to save that flip. Sasha P. Cards in the house, everybody, says he's talking about that Kobe auto. And this guy collects, and he's been on Sports Cards Live before talking about his top 75 NBA players, autographed rookies. That's what he collects. And he knows about these. One of the hardest to get for the top 75 set, last public sale was $22K 3 years ago. So very rare. Vintage says, I'd like to see PSA reconsider a pinhole or paper loss being an automatic 1. Well, paper loss, I mean, I've seen cards with paper loss that are not 1s, so I don't know that that's automatic. I know it isn't because I own several, like 1912s, 1910s, 11s. But pinhole, I agree completely with. Why is a pinhole so bad that it has to automatically be a 1? But if they were to change that now, they'd have a big recall on their hands, which might be the way to go still. Maybe they do that. So Professor says, wonder if that mantle would qualify for consideration of an NBA sticker. I would think it would, but I would need to look at Mike Baker's requirements on that. Joe Perot wants to know if we talked about the 52 Mays, Burke, Ross, talking about the Blazer division. We kind of went by that one really quick, Joe. Really quick. Vintage says the Kobe Chrome motto is popping off. Professor mentions the Kobe, the Ultra Stars Gold, and says, do we have an estimate of the print run on those, Adam? Do we have an estimated print run? We don't. Sasha P says Kobe signed rookie 4X and up to 40K before BP. So it's gone up a lot since we looked at it, is what he is saying. King of the 75, yeah. Michael Hathaway referring to Alexander Parfenov, who is Sasha P cards on Instagram, says he's the king of 75 card collecting. He is correct. And Michael says, I personally don't want PSA to change the pinhole rule. Makes collecting T206 so much easier. And I think that's a great rationale from a collector's standpoint. Okay. We are 6 minutes away, you guys, from the next extended bidding window where things are going to speed up. And I think we'll be in the 1 minute window in about 6 minutes. And then we'll see the auction could end quickly. 72 items. We're going to look now at numbers. What does that get us to? 49 through 72, I suppose, something like that. So we have a SGC. Wow. Look at the centering on this, guys. Look at the centering on this. SGC 5.5 tops, Mickey Mantle, 1952. Above average eye appeal. Hard to argue. I mean, even at the distance, it does have some clockwise tilt, but big deal. It still presents very nicely. It's I don't know if it's type 1 or 2, but it's the one that's missing the bottom border on the outline around the Yankees logo. It's got that missing pixel right there, which all of these types have. That's a nice looking copy. The centering is great. The T206 Ty Cobb with a green portrait. I learned recently, Adam, the green and the red portrait are two different pictures of Ty Cobb. I thought they were the same with just different background, different printing plates. But no, they are different images. This is the green SGC 5.5. Beautiful card. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back to that original view and let's open this one up and take a quick look at it, because this is, yeah, what a great looking card that is. I mean, these are never perfect, right? But like registration wise, it's hard to find a perfect T206 Cobb with perfect registration. But this thing is, that's a stunner right there. And then we've got the Bronco Nagurski, the 1935 National Chickle. It's an SGC 2 good, and this looks nice to me for a 2. Does it have eye appeal? It does. Exceptional. Doesn't surprise me. Nicely centered, good color. It's all there. You know, you got a series of creases right up here in the corner. You got this corner wear over here, but like, I'll tell you guys, seriously, for me, a card from 1935, this is what I want for tone border, for corners, for edges. Like, I like this. This is the perfect card for me. Perfect card for me for a Bronco, sitting at 14.5 right now. Adam, your thoughts on these three, please.
So I made a reel on the Nagurski, and when you make content on sort of vintage cards that maybe not everybody knows about, a lot of times the content doesn't do very well, because most of the people who are consuming the content are younger, and it just, the algorithm doesn't pick it up. So Nagurski's got like 40,000 views though last time I looked, and I think it's because the stories about Bronco were so good, Jeremy. One is that he like, there's this sort of like fable of him bouncing off of defenders, running into a brick wall at the end, and the wall actually breaks at Wrigley Field. There's actually like a crack in the wall at the end. There's another story about how after he retired, he bought a gas station. He like managed the gas station, and they were asking somebody, like a stranger came into town, and was like, "Why does everyone go to Broncos to get gas?" And he's like, and somebody said, "Well, once he screws the gas cap on your tank, like, you'll never get it off. The only person who can get it off is him." He's just like this mythical sort of creature or figure in vintage football. And so the reason that I love the card is that like, if you talk to big time vintage football guys, and there aren't a lot of them, right? There's like a lot of baseball guys. There's even like a good amount of basketball. There's not a lot of like crazy vintage football guys, which is shocking with how popular football is. But like, if you want to talk about the vintage football card, the really old, like pre-war vintage football card, like, this is it. This is the one. And there's not very many of them. In an SGC holder, I found this crazy. In an SGC holder, it's virtually like tied with the Honus, with the Wagner. Like, it's not, the card doesn't exist out there. You can't find it. There's more in PSA holders for sure, but it's like a very low population card, especially for being as well known as it is. I've kind of fallen in love with it, as far as like, if I was gonna buy a football card, I'd probably buy this. What's it at right now?
13.5 or 14.5, I think it was. 14.5 pre-buyer's premium. You know, one comment I want to make, when you said that there just aren't that many vintage football collectors, I'm going to take a bit of a different approach there. I think there are. I just don't think they're on Instagram, and I don't think they're making videos. I say that, Adam, because especially, okay, compared to vintage hockey and football, vintage hockey and baseball, there are not that many. But when compared to vintage basketball only really has 3 vintage sets up until 69, right? Like, but football has several. And I just know from being at shows, looking and the vintage dealers and thinking back to like their inventory, I see lots of it there. I think it's a dying breed, and maybe that's kind of where you're at too. I think it's more of a dying breed, but they're out there. They're just not on Instagram. I think that's a maybe part of it.
So if this is the Wagner of football, if that's true, and it's as nice looking as it is, how is it 14 grand?
Yeah, I mean, maybe people are scared by the 2. Maybe they're scared by SGC. I don't know why they would when you're comparing to PSA. This thing does have, it's got this heavy crease right over here in the corner. And I say heavy because I feel like I can see the bend in the card, but that's okay. The thing's from 1935. Like, this is, oh man, oh gosh, like I would love, yeah, found treasures right there. Found treasure says we like to keep it hush, you know, maybe. And I love that comment. Maybe that's why, but I think it's an amazing card, Adam, and it's on my lifelong list of cards to own. I love the mythicism around him. You tell a great story about him as well. But okay, let's keep on rolling though. Josh Sherber did say, is the mantle tilted some? And yes, I did mention that, Josh. It is tilted clockwise, but still a beautiful copy. 52 tops, Willie Mays, SGC7, certainly off center, but those edges and corners and the color all popping. Back to back, Erling Haaland, 2019 Topps Chrome UEFA, red refractor and red carbon fiber refractor. Big distinction there. I don't know what it is, but I assume it's a big distinction. They are both PSA 10s, and this is a pop 2. This is a pop 1. Look like important cards there, Adam. I'm going to roll through some of the soccer stuff, okay? Okay with you? Another Erling Haaland, the Bundesliga, gold refractor out of 50. We have a Ronaldo red refractor out of 10, PSA 9, pop 3, 1 grade higher, and a Lionel Messi UEFA red refractor auto, PSA DNA auto 10, card is a 10. That's got to be a big card. Yep, 27.5 right there. For all you soccer collectors, I think you've got your hands full tonight between these 5 of, 3 of the greatest players of our generation. We have a Lamar Jackson 2018 National Treasures RPA number 299 and 99s in the auction tonight. That's pretty cool. This autograph appears to me to be faded, though. Let's zoom in and have a look. I don't know if it's maybe just not, maybe the end of the run on the Sharpie. I don't think this is. It doesn't look sunburnt to me. It more looks just like a marker that was running out. A beautiful Ty Cobb red portrait, SGC 6.5. This thing looks like it's a stunner. Absolute. Look at the centering on this card. That might be one of the finest centering, combination of centering, corners and edges I've seen on this card. A 6.5. This looks undergraded to me at first glance. At first glance, Adam. But again, I'm not looking at this thing in hand. I can't look at it under the light. I can't really inspect the surface. This looks amazing. What's the top right corner doing? I just noticed something on the top right corner. Looks like there might be a little bit of surface loss right there. That could be the big thing holding it back from being like an 8 or an 8.5, if I'm seeing that correctly. It just jumped out at me. It's very subtle. This card, I don't know, it's funny, Adam, but like this comes with the Jeremy Lee eye appeal assessment right here. This to me is an amazing copy. PWCC didn't give it an eye appeal rating, so there must be, I would assume there's something else going on, but I love that card. I love that card. And a 2000 playoff contenders Tom Brady rookie auto, BGS 8, sitting at $10,500. An absolute steal if you were to go back and compare it to a couple years ago. Adam, I've run through the last 9 cards here, which means we're making progress. Anything you'd like to say about any of that?
The Messi auto is cool because it getting pulled was done on video, and that video is out there. That's pretty cool. It's also the only PSA 10 of that card.
That's Court Chabot's card. Is that right? That's I want to, before you continue, guys, look at the clock. This auction could be over in 6 seconds here. If a bid doesn't come through, let's see what happened. A bid came through, so it's reset, Adam. Sorry, please continue.
That's it. That's all I've got. We got a few really good comments too. We should make it over to you.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. First of all, Daniel joined Daniel, good to see you, buddy, as always, and thanks for spending time with me at the expo. Good to see you. Michael Hathaway here says recency bias is strongest with football and basketball with how much inflation has happened with scoring over the last 30 years. In my opinion, really hurts the interest in vintage football, which is great for the collector who respects the past. I love that. And I picked up an Otto Graham rookie back in April, and I love it. I love my Otto Graham rookie 1950 Bowman. It's an absolute stunner. Nick Leach says Gemray chose over 200 copies graded of Nagurski, so not as rare as Wagner. So that's interesting.
So let me make my comment again.
Yeah.
Nick, just look at SGC. They're virtually the same. But as I said, and I did say this, there's way more. If you look at PSA, there's way more Broncos there. So it's definitely not apples to apples. But when we talk about it being the Wagner of football, the question is like, is there a sort of like this like recognizable, iconic, mythical, important football card that's more like the Wagner than this Nagurski? I don't think the answer to that's yes. I think the answer to that's no. Just like in basketball, it's probably the Mikan, although the Mikan there's like 500. I think if you look at the combined pops, maybe even more, maybe it's like 800. The Wagner is what it is. If this was a Wagner, it would be several $1 million in the grade that it's in. So it's not the same thing, but I love it in that it's got some of those Wagner type qualities.
And Vintage says most people don't know Bronco also has a 55 Parkhurst wrestling card. Yeah, I don't think I knew that myself. Nick Leach asks the question, guys, would you rather own the BGS True Gem Plus 86 Clear Jordan or the PSA 1 Mantle for the long term? Mantle all day long for me, simply because it is so rare in that PSA 1 to be that nice. Whereas I can go buy a Jordan in 9.5 condition. We have the option to purchase, a dozen copies of that at any given time, where, you're kind of lucky to ever find a super nice PSA 1 Mickey Mantle. But when you say long, the question has the words for the long term. I don't know if that implies investment wise. For me, yeah, I'm Mantle all day long for the long term. I would enjoy owning that card more. Adam, how about you?
So this is really hard because personally for my collection, I would rather have the Mantle, but like I've looked at the population reports enough to sort of see how rare the True Gem and True Gem Pluses are. It's the vast majority, Jeremy, the vast majority of BGS 9.5s have a 9 subgrade. They do.
But here's the thing, Adam, who cares? Like
some people do.
Right. I know, but I'm talking about let me rephrase. I don't care, because Here's the other thing is that those subgrades are temporary a lot of the time. They go up and down. The same card can get regraded differently each time. Like it's a human opinion. The one on that one Mantle is like, it's like a rule. Pinhole 1. Yet it looks so much nicer.
It looks so much nicer. That's why I say for my collection. But what I was going to get to, let me just finish this this quick thought. If the true gems are just as hard to get, there's the same sort of true gems in BGS as they are in PSA, and people finally realize at some point that they're basically the same thing, then the card's worth like 4 times as much as it's at right now today. And so for me, that is he's talking about investment. He's not just talking about what he wants. I love both cards, but I love the Mantle. I love the Mantle.
And I mean, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I just say that because, he says, would you rather own for the long term? So I'm going to take that as the collector, and I'm going to say to myself, what am I going to enjoy owning for more time?
Mantle. And I would rather own Mantle.
Like, it's not even close for me. Not even close. Like, I'll be honest, I don't even own a Jordan. I owned a Jordan rookie for 15 years. I don't own one anymore, and I don't miss it at all. Like, personally. So that's where I'm at. I'm the Mantle all day long. Okay.
Let me just add last thing. There's nothing wrong with taking a card and saying that's one of the most iconic cards in the world, and it's one of the nicest ones. And because it's one of the nicest ones, I need to own that thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so if Nick's decided on the Jordan, I think that's great. But me too, Jeremy, from the perspective of just how beautiful that Mantle is, I think I prefer that card.
Well, Nick says I love both, and that's fair. I mean, the Jordan's a lovable card. But for me, last comment I'll make is that I can go buy a PSA 9 that is as good as looks as good as a BGS 9.5 True Gem Plus. Like it's just there, and you can then get it for cheaper and all this and that. So okay, let's keep on. A couple Magic cards which we don't know anything about, and a Hemet's Journal, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, hand cut, PSA 8, very strong grade for the card. No fish eyes. Often we see a fish. Oh, there is actually. Sorry, I think I see it now, but it's really camouflaged in there. Yeah, there it is. It's right there. We often see it there. Maybe it's in all the copies. Doesn't bother me though, because it's like such a cool card, and it's from 1960, and it's from cut out of a magazine. Love that card right there. Trey Young, Contenders Optic Gold Rookie Auto, 101. Really, another card that was probably would have been, in his hobby prime. This card is probably a six-figure card back then.
Probably up to.
Another Holland. This is the orange refractor out of 25, and then the immaculate Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is his BGS 9.5 out of 34, so the gold version, I believe. And Adam, you made the comment earlier on the what was the brand that we saw earlier again? The
National Treasures versus the Immaculate.
Oh, the Immaculate. We saw the Immaculate, right? I love that Immaculate, but I also love this Immaculate. So that was a different Immaculate then, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I know this set super well, so let me break this down real quick. The other one's at a 10. It's got a bigger patch. It's not the parallel of the rookie, right? It's not viewed as like a significant rookie in the same way that this one is. I've actually owned 4 of these 34 cards, Jeremy. The 30, I don't know where I've owned 4 of the 34 of those. This might have been mine at one point. I'm not sure. I think this is the nicest looking rookie set that Panini's ever done, because not only is it like the acetate finish on the front with the sweeping hollow foil that is just beautiful, it's actually acetate on the back, and they didn't do that any other years. 2012 had a soft back, 2014 had a soft back, but for whatever reason, 2013 has that nice shiny acetate. And so also, Jeremy, the patches out of Immaculate for Giannis are way better than National Treasures. I've never understood for the life of me why the Giannis National Treasures is viewed as his best rookie. I'd rather have the regular Immaculate at a 99, let alone this. This is so much nicer, in my opinion. And no, I don't own the card anymore.
I think the hobby will catch up eventually. It just kind of has to, because it just makes so much sense. Like aesthetics has to be important. It has to be. I just think NT is overrated as a brand versus Immaculate and Flawless, personally. Okay, we have a Prism Orange Refractor Giannis right here, a BGS 10 out of 60 rookie card at 11,000. Bowman Chrome Tom Brady. This is an SGC 10 pristine pop 1. That's a pretty crazy card. Doesn't look very good in this image. It's very dark, but that is a really cool card. And a 2020 Prism Gold Vinyl Tua Tagovailoa rookie card out of 5 and a PSA 10 holder. It's a pop 1. No auto, thankfully. These are so much nicer without autos, in my opinion. Great looking card here. Adam, anything to add maybe on the Giannis or either of the other ones?
Giannis is maybe the most iconic Prism card of the era. It's still TBD, but the great thing about it is he's like, if he retired today, he's probably a top 25, top 30 player of all time. But if he does what he has the potential to maybe be able to do, which is win a few more championships, maybe some more MVPs, this is a guy who could be in like really rarefied air, and that's his most important card, in my opinion.
That's high praise right there. For sure. Couple of NTs now. I'm kind of taking swings at NT, but I do like these Stars and Stripes. They have that acetate finish to them. I think they're just beautiful cards. I really like them. And if you're an American patriot, well, how can you not love these cards? I am not. I'm Canadian, but I get it. These are very nice. We got the Tua and we got the Jalen Hurts here side by side. They're both 9s. PSA 9 on the Tua. BGS 9 on the Jalen. These are gorgeous cards. They're both out of 20. Auto patches. Beautiful. Like someone's going to be a proud owner of those two. And the 52 tops, Jackie Robinson, SGC 4 with above average eye appeal from PWCC. And this thing it's pretty nice. Okay, definitely got tilt.
For a 4, though, for a 4, that's a great looking card, isn't it?
It is, but it's something throws me off on it. Like that top border throws me off. The bottom border looks perfectly straight. The right border looks straight. The left border gets a little wider, I think, as you go down, but that top border gets a lot wider as you move from right to left. And so I'm not sure if that's the way these cards are. I don't know if that's diamond cut. I don't think it's tilt. I'm not sure. Something weird going on with this card. I just don't know what it is. And it might not be weird. It just might be that the way I'm seeing it. I don't know. Do you have any insight?
Sometimes you do that thing where you can see the difference between the board, between the like slab and the card. I kind of agree with you that bottom looks straighter, but maybe is it a registration issue like that? Look at the left part of the bottom black border. Isn't it thicker than it is on the right side? Do you see that?
Talking about this here?
Yeah, isn't that thicker than it is on the right side?
Maybe like literally a hair. But I don't know. The other thing I noticed is a bit of surface wear on the forehead here. My eyes went there immediately, by the way. A bit of surface wear up over here. I can see, I do understand the assignment of the eye appeal award here, but I don't know that it hits me in the eye appeal area. But if you put it beside a bunch of other 4s, I do think that this is going to stand out as a bit of a stunner. So I don't want to take anything away from it. And if I wanted, I would beat it up if I felt it was beat up. If it was needed to be.
I've heard you do it before. The last thing that I would say about it is that we've seen a lot of 52s through the years. We've seen a lot of 52 Jackies. We see a lot on Instagram because for a lot of people, that's like their grail, right? They want to own a 52 Jackie Robinson. I've seen a lot of those cards that are 70-30, Jeremy, like a lot of them. And so the centering on that one, I hear what you're saying about sort of that unevenness that seems a little bit weird, but the centering on that one's just so much better than what we usually see on a Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, outside of that, yeah, this top border is weird, but in any event, yeah, here, Mookie Chilson says, that's still a beauty, Jeremy. Give me that Jackie all day. Yeah, hey, I get it, but, we're here to critically look at these cards with respect to the grade and the eye appeal, and I just want to be, I just want to share my opinions on them. I'm not, I know you understand that, Mookie. I'm not beating it up. I'm just giving my thoughts on the different attributes of the card. Michael Hathaway, good evening. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate you, my friend. Zach Swisher in the house. Can I add that I value SGC Pristine higher than all other grades? Yeah, you can add that. I think that's probably legit. I don't know. I have visited PSA's grading room. I was there several years ago. I've never been to SGC's offices, but I just get the feeling that SGC puts more time into grading vintage. That just might be, I might be way off on that. I don't know, but that's just my gut feel based on what I've seen over the years from the companies. All right. Well, hey, we've gone through all the items, Adam, and the auction is not over. Hooray! Hooray for us in the chat.
So Jeremy, what we should do, at least
sort by recent bid. Sort by recent bid.
Sort by recent bid.
Yes. I thought that's what you were gonna say. Wrong.
I'm already doing it over on my own anyways. So for us to do it together works a lot better.
All right. Most recent bids. Let's go by this. Now we'll see where the action is as this auction comes close to wrapping up. We are not entering 5 minute. That should go again to 1 minute here. Let's let this thing catch up. So the LeBron Gold has the most recent bid up to $11K. The Cobb Green Portrait, love this card, $17,250. Kobe Essential Credentials is at $41,000. So these are the cards that are keeping this auction going. The Tua, that is a beautiful card. The gold vinyl Tua, I really like that card. The Mahomes Shields up to $85,000. My targeted Gehrig is up to $26,250. Some of these half bids are coming in now. Charizard is marching his way back towards that old $250,000 mark here at $46,000. That was tongue in cheek. The Jordan Auto on the Star 101, $43,000. The Montana's up to 31,000. This was doing consistently 60K not too long ago. So an opportunity to get one of these for maybe, 55, 60% of the price. Adam's favorite card is a 27,250, the Kobe Auto Game jersey. Luca's crawling up there slowly, 56 and a quarter. Oh, look at that, 42K on the Maze now. And 185 on the Jordan, the S rank Jordan. I mean, 185 plus 36. This thing's at 220 now. That'll be the highest selling Jordan rookie we've seen in some time, I believe. Yep. Yeah, very nice. Oh, there's the PSA 9 Ronaldo, 13,250. The Tiger Woods PSA 10 SI for kids is at 21.5. Gorgeous Koufax SGC 8.5 sitting at 24,250. Like 27, and this is going to sell for $35,000. Like, I don't know, man. That if you hold on a second. If you take this card and you put your hand over the PSA label, you think this card should sell for $100,000. Yes, it has that staple mark in it. I get it. But like, doesn't kill it.
What's a PSA? This is what's great, right? People will talk like we're talking right now, but still when push comes to shove, they'll look at the grade and they'll say that it's still going to influence me. I'll bet you if you look right now at the last one with a qualifier, it's less than what this is currently at by quite a bit. But it's still, to your point, Jeremy, nowhere near what you would think based on the actual eye appeal of the card.
Right. And we've talked about, this is the theme of the night, Adam, is the influence that the grade has, or the documentation of the grade, on what people are willing to pay for the card. Meanwhile, you take that same card, you put it in a different holder, a different company's holder, could change significantly what you're willing to pay. And that, I think, is something that is, it's a result of inconsistency between and within grading companies. But listen, that is not something that can be fixed, because the grading companies, the traditional grading companies, are human, and they likely always will be. And that's just the way it is. So that's where it's important to be educated. It's important to have a mind of your own, and there is a movement going on. I'm telling you, this, Adam. There's a movement out there where people are saying, I'm going to be the grading company. I'm going to tell you what I think that card is worth, or what, like, just because a PSA 3 might sell for between $5,000 and $8,000, I might look at a PSA 2 and say that should sell for between 8 and 12, because I think it's a nicer card than most 3s, because technical grades don't take into account eye appeal completely. And there's a movement moving toward, and I love that movement. I love it. It should make all of us so much more willing to purchase lower grade cards that look great. Instead of, like, I'd way rather have a centered 4 than an off-centered 7. And and I know there are other things going on with both of those cards, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at in my collecting.
Your comment that you made that was my favorite part was where you said the people can be the grading company. I love, Jeremy, I love when a card like has a slab on it and I can just sort of say, I'm going to value that at whatever I'm going to value at. If it's in an authentic holder, some people are like, I hate that. I'm like, I love an authentic holder. It's great. The great thing there is something valuable about the numeric grade, in that it tells you, it makes something, it's intended to make it comparable with another card. And I guess the inconsistency that's been applied, it doesn't speak to me the way that I think that it used to. It doesn't. I want to be able to look at the card and judge it for myself and be the grading company on my own.
Adam, I was a slave to the grade for many years until I learned from seeing enough graded cards that it's not the end all be all, and that they're not consistent. But that's understandable if they're human. And now I'm no longer, I'm going to show you, I'm just going to put the spotlight on my camera for a second. I'm going to show you guys this card that I recently acquired. I talked about earlier tonight. Just a picture of it, but this is my 1950 Bowman Otto Graham. Now, like, I don't have, the grade is not showing on purpose, but like, what do you think this grade is? And if you know, because you've seen me show this card before, you know, please don't ruin it. But what do you think this card grades at? And I'll tell you, I've inspected this. No creases, no wrinkles, no paper loss, nothing funky going on in the back. There's really, I don't know what the, obviously if the grade is lower than I think it should be, I'll you know, you can tell.
You would guess it's a 7. You'd look at that and you'd say it's a 7.
Yeah. Well, 3.5.
Yep.
3.5. I mean, and I paid a premium for it. I paid more than a 3.5 would sell for. Lucky for me, actually, the seller of that card put more value into the grade than I did, so I got it cheaper than I was willing to pay.
Happens all the time. All the time.
I was like, okay, well, he's like, yeah, it's a 3.5, so I'll give it to you for this, but I don't know why. And he's like, I'm so pissed off, I'm not giving them money to do it again. I'm like, I don't need money. I don't care about the grade. That card will look fantastic in my collection.
We're part of a vintage group where there's a member of our group, and I think you'll know who I'm talking about right off.
I already know
who is very anti stickers. Just very, very.
He calls them stickers, not flips, not labels. He calls them stickers.
No. What I'm actually referring to is like the eye appeal stickers.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
He also calls the label stickers, though.
Oh, does he? Okay.
He does, yeah.
I haven't noticed that, but I know that he's referred to the other ones, and he talks about like using your eyes and the ability to use your eyes. And I respect him because I respect all collectors, and because I think he has strong feelings, and I think that's a good thing. And reasonable people can disagree. The reason that I call that out, though, Jeremy, is I think he's wrong about the value that the eye appeal stickers have, because I love when somebody like you or somebody like Ryan Tedmus, who works at PWCC, or any of the people on PWCC who look at the eye appeal of the cards, I love it when they look at that thing and they say, hey, you know what? For a PSA 8, that is a 5% card. This card's freaking unbelievable. It is gorgeous, and maybe technically it's an 8, but your eyes will not tell you that. Your eyes will tell you this is so nice. When I see that, it does make me feel like, wow, that's really cool. I better give this thing an extra look. And some people don't like, again, like the fellow who's in our group doesn't like that. That's okay that people don't like that, but I do, and I think the market has shown like there's a real value in having that. And so I really applaud PWCC on this. I know we're on their show. It sounds self-serving, but I really applaud their efforts. I think that the market needs to continue to understand more and more that there's like a grade that has technically been assessed, and then there's but this is what I think of it. Like, it's average, it's below average. This is an incredibly good-looking card for the grade. I think it's really worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, both PWCC and MBA do provide these second opinions on the aesthetics of a card within a grade, and I think that's, listen, first of all, they wouldn't be doing it if it didn't matter to the market. Now, the gentleman that we're speaking of, he is very confident in his eye, as he should be. He's got a great eye for cards, but not everybody does. And so he'll sometimes say, like, I don't need those. I can tell if a card looks nice. Well, not everybody can know exactly what to look for on all cards. Sure, you look at it, is it framed nicely? Is there paper loss? This and that, but there's more. There is a bit more to it than just that. And there are beginners in this hobby all the time, and beginners with money who want to spend. So I think there's certainly a need for it. I support it 100%. And hey, I mean, listen, people tune in to watch us talk about how good a card is for the grade. So obviously there's a need. There's a need. And listen, if there wasn't, then those cards wouldn't sell for anything extra, or well, maybe they would still, because they are strong for the grade. But in any event, I support it. I think it's important for the hobby. Not everybody has an eye like that gentleman does. He's got a great eye. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I think it's funny the way he talks about it. But yeah, I'm not on the same. I don't share the same opinion he does that it's a joke or anything like that. I think it's important.
So here's an interesting nuance to this question, Jeremy. Do you think, and you started to kind of go down this, but this is my question that comes out of this conversation, and this is super interesting. Do you think if you took the eye appeal stickers out, they didn't exist anymore, do you think the cards that would have garnered eye appeal stickers would continue to sell for so much more? Or do you think that the eye appeal sticker is actually adding some value?
Auction's over, I think. I think it definitely adds value, Adam, because if the stickers, I guarantee you they add value. It's 100% they do, because not some, to answer your question directly though, without it, the nicer eye appeal cards would still sell for more than the average cards of those grade. They would, because there are enough people that can recognize it, but the sticker just makes it obvious to everybody. So
we've seen some times where the eye appeal sticker has multiplied the card's value by 5x, or where a card that has a sticker is worth 5 times what it would be worth in an average. And so to me, like, it really is important. But the auction's over, and you have another thought. What was your thought?
Yeah, my thought was that it was about 2013, I believe, the Cleveland National. I met Brady Hill, a famous collector, and a gentleman by the name of Jeff, whose last name is escaping me. They set up together at the National for several years, and they had the finest selection of vintage in the room, and they schooled me that afternoon on they called it strong for the grade. That was the terminology. And I was, from that moment on, I was willing to, they convinced me that I should pay more for strong for the grade cards. And it made sense to me, and I started to do that.
Yep.
So that's kind of when the professor makes the comment here, Jeremy became emancipated from the grade. I have to credit Brady Hill and Jeff. Oh man, I should know that. He goes by Card Country as his booth at the National. Great guy, great family. His parents are always there with him. I want to see if I have his last name, because if I can shout it out, I will. I don't see it here. In any event, that's when I started to realize that, you know what? The technical grade is not always the end all be all. So I'm all over it. A couple comments here before we wrap up. Daniel A said, a lower grade used to be a great bargaining chip. When you found a card with great eye appeal, sellers have gotten wise, and they know collectors are not slaves to the grade anymore. Yeah, that's true. Certainly at my booth, I will charge more for a strong for the grade card. You can show me all the comps you want. I had a Frank Robinson rookie at the Expo a PSA 6. Thing looks like an 8. People were showing me, this one gentleman, he was very polite and respectful, came back showing me comps. I'm like, I don't really care what these PSA 6s sell for. This is going to sell for, I'm not selling it for PSA for the comps you're showing me. I want X amount more. Otherwise, I'm not going to sell it. Or I'm actually going to do what I did. I submitted it to PWCC, and I expect that it's going to get an eye appeal sticker. Hopefully, I'm right about that. Daniel A, it's too bad that eye appeal sticker from PWCC doesn't have a registration database for the public. It's a flaw in that system for me. That's a good feedback. I have to think that that's something that they're looking at doing. Especially, they're going to be going through some changes here with the Fanatics takeover. So I'm going to guess that that's something that's coming for sure. Vintage Card Collector says, I was against eye appeal stickers for a long time. They have slowly come around to the point I'm going to submit a few cards at the next National to MBA. I mean, I don't think you can argue. I'm not talking to you, Vintage. I'm talking in general. You cannot argue that some people that not everybody has the same eye. Some people are card graders. Many aren't. You'll hear, but I don't grade cards. Well, no, some people have an eye for it. And the professor says, strong for the grade can be the official emancipation slogan on this movement. There you go. Well said, Professor. Adam, the auction is over. I'm going to sort by highest price. We'll look at the first page, and we'll wrap this up. What do you say?
Sounds good to me, brother.
All right. Let's let this thing load. Jordan, 222. This card sold for $840,000 a couple of years ago. Now down to 222, which is much healthier, I would say. Much healthier. The Rubies does 216. No surprise there. That is a sick card. Steph Curry, NTRPA, does $144,000. Look at that. The Kobe PMG Red, Adam, went up to $120,000. The Mahomes Shield does 114. The Mantle 5.5 does 111. The Mantle 7.5 51 Bowman does $84,000. The Lou Alcindor Kareem Abdul-Jabbar does 57.6. Charizard finally tore his MCL, everybody. Charizard has torn his ACL. The Kobe Credentials 51.6. I wonder if anyone that I rub shoulders with won this card. I do know a couple of people I think we're looking at this card tonight. So we'll see if anyone I know won this. 51. And it looks like this Kobe autograph chrome beat the previous 3 year ago record of 22,000 that Sasha P let us know about earlier. The Maze PSA 7 does 50,000. The Burke Ross does 42. Joe Perot's card of the night right there. It is a blazer for sure. The Jordan BGS 9.5 True Gem Plus does 39.6. So about $180K lower than the PSA 10 with superior eye appeal. Kobe Ultra Stars Gold does 38.4. Montana PSA 10 37.2, and probably the card of the night that we talked about the most, the Mantle 52 tops, the one with the miscut and the staple holes does 35.4. Kobe Jamba does 34.2. The Messi dual 10 auto and card grade does 33K. Adam's favorite Kobe game jersey auto does 32.7. Lou Gehrig 33 Gaudy SGC 7 does 31.5. This card has, wow, Adam, the refractor LeBron BGS 10. I mean, this thing would have sold for how much back in the day? Like 150?
I don't really know. I should know. I think it was over 100 though.
I think so too. And the Koufax SGC 8.5 does $29,100 to wrap up the top 24 of this November 2023 PWCC Premier Auction. A couple final comments. Sean Red says, I saw Mike Bossy PSA 9 with eye appeal sticker sell for twice the price of another 9 in the same month. Because the card is superior. That makes perfect sense to me. Again, that's just with or without the sticker, that should happen. Jeff Hart says, for the grade. Attaboy, Jeff Hart. I wore the shirt on Thursday at Expo, by the way, Jeff Hart. I wore that shirt on Thursday at Expo, buddy. And Jake Dahl says Charizard needs Tommy John surgery. Yeah, maybe that'll fix it. Nick Leach pumped about winning the Doncic Gold Prism. Congratulations, Nick Leach. Doncic collection coming around the past few months. Hey, congrats, Nick. Thanks for letting us know. That's always a lot of fun. We are actually at our most viewers right now that we've had all night, right as we're about to wind up the show. But Adam, any final comments before we wrap up?
Man, it was a great auction. It's I like the smaller number. I'm glad that PWCC increased the minimum. I'd like to see it stay sort of in the 50 to 100 range. Personally, I think that's a really manageable number. I liked it especially because there's so much more vintage tonight, and it's great to be able to always dive into the vintage with you, Jeremy. You do such an awesome job of breaking down what you see when you look at the card. And you're a guy who I think a lot about your eye appeal, or what you think of and how you grade the card out. So just really enjoyed it. There's a couple cards that I really wish I could have been on tonight. I ended up not sort of having the guts to do it, but that happens too sometimes. We'll see what happens next month. Well,
thank you for those kind words. Always great doing the show with you. Your insights are second to none. And I got to say, you've just you've leveled up, and it's because of what you're doing with your reels. I think you've leveled up in a big way. So please keep it up. Congrats, and I hope to continue doing these shows with you for a very long time. Hobby Champs later to you, dude. Michael Steinberg, thank you for joining us, and appreciate the comment. Daniel, great to have you in here with us. Great to have all you guys in here with us tonight. And with that, we're going to end this with that, guys. This version, the November 2023 PWCC Premier Auction Ending Watch Party. Thank you, Vintage. We see that. Thank you so much. Is now